However, Chad, as tired as I may be, we have things to do and hopefully a championship to win. Please, let us win this thing. For those who need a quick little reminder, the San Jose Sharks of what, 1997? 96, 97.
Here comes a pizza. See it?
Shout out to Coco, by the way, for the 48 months. A tier 3, no less. Coco, I love ya. I love ya. I love ya. I miss seeing you stream all the time, but at least I get to see you and your wrestling adventures in Japan all the time. Coco, we love you. I hope you've been well. I know you've been well because I follow. Well, then again, what people put out on social media doesn't exactly translate to how they're doing in real life. That's just the good parts, mostly. The San Jose Sharks of the 1996-97 season are ready to win. At least I hope. In the last 2 off seasons, we have signed Brendan Shanahan, Joe Juneau, and now Wayne Gretzky. We're ready to win. Whether or not we will win, well, that's its own entire thing, right? But at least with that forward core, we're pretty well set up to win. I mean, we have 35-year-old Wayne Gretzky on the team, right? So we're going to see how this plays out this year. The defense does leave a little bit to be desired. We don't really have a great supporting cast for our 21-year-old captain in Chris Pronger, but it is still a very, very good team, obviously, with Chris Pronger leading the way. Our goaltender, the Bulin Wall himself, Nikolai Khabibulin. This team's set up to win. They absolutely are. Of course, we made it through the final draft with players, real players that Snipe was able to add in for future draft classes, including the fact in the last draft we picked up Pavel Datsyuk and Zdeno Chara. Chara, who will be unsigned at least for this year, but that is okay. So, yeah, goal is simple at this point. Win a cup. That's what we're here to do. Cameron, what's going on, by the way? But yeah, again, in terms of the lines, you would have seen them a second ago. They're still looking good. And our AHL team, the Kansas City Blades, could very well be on their way to a 4th straight Calder Cup, because this team is also stacked, and now they have Pavel frickin' Datsyuk on the team, which is hilarious. Although, again, their defense, not exactly phenomenal, but we do have Tony Ludman and Brian Rafalski, who we signed, trying to still develop some players here and there where we can, just in case things don't go exactly as we want them to go. Right? Right. So let's do this. Live for Niagara in less than a week for a hockey tournament. I'm excited. I wish you all the luck in the world, Cameron. I'll be rooting for you. I will. Depending on when the games are played. I don't know. I might be sleeping if it's early in the morning or something like that. But hey, just know. Just know. Yeah, this is going to be a depressing little view here. Not a single real player left. One of these days, NHL eras, just like NBA. It would be so sweet. Be so sweet. You wouldn't even need the full classes. But God, it would be so sweet. Or give us draft classes for every year. And Snipe could literally do it for every single year. But no, for now we don't have it. We got Gretzky free agent signing for the old Wayne train. We'll be good to go. We'll be good to go. We start off our season against the Washington Capitals. Biscuit, no idea, actually. And there he is. Number 99 for the San Jose Sharks.
About to score,
Wayne Gretzky, the Smoota. 13 months. Smoota, thank you very much for the resub. Appreciate you. Hopefully that brings us some good luck as we look at our ratings, the highest they've ever been. Hopefully that means good things are on the horizon. Shout out to Paul Correa, leading the Washington Capitals. simulate the whole season in the playoffs to play it. We do simulate everything. I don't play anything, but if we're in the playoffs, we will occasionally watch the AI, depending on the circumstances. So, yeah, 1996-97 will go to, January 1st to kick it off. And we'll see how the boys do. I mean, there is a chance this team could drastically underperform, and if they do, then, well, shit, we'll see where we end up. It's Rick Natras gets hurt. He'll be lying on a mattress while he recovers. He's recovered. Didn't take too long. Let's get Link Gates out of there. Welcome back, Mr. Natras. Welcome back. We're actually not off to an amazing start. Colin, we'll see. The summer is very busy and unpredictable for me, so it might be more in the fall, if not the holiday season, that something like that happens again. It's going to be a good year for rookies. Yeah, you would feel that way. We are actually not doing that well so far this year. Pavel Datsyuk is already up to an 80 overall, which is hilarious. But... I lied, actually. I lied. I looked at Vancouver's record when we played them, and I looked too quickly and thought that was our record. No, that's not our record. Our record here in San Jose is pretty goddamn good. Although Chris Drury keeps getting injured. 16, 11, 0. Although now we have lost quite a few games. 8, 11, 0, 0. God, we did lose. The second I noticed we were doing all right, we started losing quite a few games. Sam Besser, what's going on, by the way? I mean, we are doing well, but we're not, destroying the league good, which is what I was hoping we'd be. We're going to get to January 1st. Martin Gerber's out. That's not ideal. Let's call up David Abisher to be the backup. Avalanche legend. David Abisher. Can back up the Boulin Wall. Jason Allison has been injured with injured leg. You hate to see it. You hate to see someone get injured with injured leg. Tragedy. How will he ever recover? Ignore the fact he's already recovered. So January 1st of 1997, we are only in third in our division. Again, top 4 teams in each division make the playoffs. That's not great. It's really not. Let's take a look. Let's take a look here. Actually, you know what? I want to go from the edit line screen because I have a hunch we're going to have to make some changes here. So Brendan Shanahan was our leading scorer at 42 points in 37 games. Gretzky on 38 and 37 and 39 and 37 for Pat Falloon. Falloon's a pretty consistent 30-goal scorer. He is suffering greatly. Gretzky pun included. Marcus Naslund, 39 points in 37 games. Joe Juneau, not far behind, obviously. Brian Ralston's also doing pretty well. So the second line's done well. I just think Pat Falloon isn't scoring as much as we've typically seen him. Elias is doing well. So point production is not our issue. Clearly. I mean, the fourth line hasn't been great, but it's the fourth line. Whatever. How's the defense looking? Only 12 points for Pronger, but there's only so much puck to go around. Natras actually has a decent point total. Yeah, point production isn't our issue. Dude, even Hobby Boulin's not doing that bad. Anything over a 900 is actually okay. Now, Abisher got lit up in the one game he started, but that's because Kevin Weeks, or not Kevin Weeks, Martin Gerber, is injured. But this is just kind of bizarre. But we won't change any. I don't really know what to make of the start of this season. Again, it's not as if we're terrible. We're on a playoff pace, but they should be better than that. They should be. All right, so Gerber's healthy. It's the difference between an injured leg and a leg injury. The bill at the hospital. That's the difference. Let's go with that. All right, let's see. Are we in the too good to win team now with the A-Logic? Maybe. I mean, we got a couple losses this month already. A tie. Another tie. Another tie. We just lost 11-4 to Calgary and then beat them 8-3. We're still third in our division as of February 1st. (26, 17, 7) with 2 overtime losses. Winnipeg is fucking terrible. Although in this timeline, they're not even Winnipeg anymore. They'd be the Coyotes. Again, we're not bad. We got a 9-point gap on the Oilers with fucking 5 games at hand, so we're not really in danger of not being in a playoff pace, but we're not crushing it here. Hobby Boolin's dropping a bit. Gerber's been an okay backup. We're probably going to have to look at a goaltending improvement at the deadline. And Pronger's a +20, only 15 points. Ozil and Shimberhowski. We're not a bad team. I mean, the goaltending isn't even abysmal. 16 goals now for Pat Falloon. Second line's gotten roughed up recently in terms of plus-minus. Third line hasn't been great. Fourth line hasn't been great. Okay. Right. I want to check a few things really quickly. We know that we can send David Abisher back down. Donnelly's still a depth defenseman, so nothing really to change there. Jamie Langenbrunner's become a fourth liner. So if we want to make the best of his development, we got to make a decision soon as to whether or not he gets called up. Shatan and Hoagland are still depth forwards. Datsuk is still a depth forward. So Jamie Langenbrunner is kind of the one to look at right now and say, well, we want to make the most of his development. It's either trade him or call him up. Given the struggles of the second and third line, the problem is there is nobody from the top 6 to drop to the third line. We'll swap Barnaby and Doan. We're going to swap Ralston and Falloon just to shake things up a little bit. We'll also swap Moran and Barahowski. Change a couple of things up. Try to spark the team a little bit. We're not in a bad spot. We're not the killers of the league that I was hoping that we'd be. But I think we'll be able to make some improvements. Man, we just lost to the worst team in the league. 8-4. I think we'll be able to make some improvements at the deadline. Luke Richardson is on waivers. Why wouldn't I claim him? Welcome in, Luke Richardson. Right as Ian Moran gets hurt, go figure. But we'll have Link Gates fill in for him. Still hovering around 500, man. What a bizarre performance for this team that has this much talent. Let's go best lines in the AHL again. 34, 22, 7, and 2. The day before the deadline, we have jumped Calgary for second place in the division, but we are 10 points behind Pavel Bure and the Vancouver Canucks for the number 1 seed in the division. And a big shout out to Bunny, by the way. Third. There have been some ridiculous resubs tonight already, and I thank you guys. I will literally drink to that.
Ruining a good piece of pizza.
Water, of course, because I'm not a saucy bitch, but, you know. 7 ties, 2 overtime losses. What a weird... Where are we in the standings? We're 8th. That's not too bad. But it's not as if we're in, like, the strongest division in the league. It doesn't look like it, at least. It's really bizarre. We know Gretz is our leading scorer now, 78 points in 65 games as a 35, if not a 36-year-old already. He is regressing, and he is 36. Bunny, you are correct. Shanahan, good numbers. Gretzky, great numbers. Ralston. Joe Juneau hasn't been particularly strong defensively. 85 PIMs for Barnaby. I think we just go to the deadline, see what we can do. I mean, we are in win now mode. Let's see who's out there that we could add. I'm not really willing to risk any of the prospects we already have, but future picks and stuff like that, absolutely. Ulf Dahlen. We don't have space for him, really. Ilya Cyber, Brian Bradley. I mean, there's some good veteran players out there, but nobody that really fits the bill, especially when we're looking for defensive help. So let's do this on our own. A little bit of research here. Thomas Steen, third line center. He is dying to get off of this Coyotes team. Absolutely dying. But our third line center right now was Jason Allison, who we do want to keep around. Then again, Allison could go to the fourth line. And that would drop Shantz off the roster. We do love Shantz, though. We do. This might have been the Coyotes trade. Yep, the Coyotes just traded Steen. Okay. We would have had to have made that decision very, very quickly. So that's not surprising. If we just look at the best available players here. So again, Ulf Dahlen is a top 6 right wing option. We literally don't have space. Cybert on the left wing side, we don't have space. Bradley, no. Emerson is a right wing, no. Peli Eklund is a center, no. Another trade there involving somebody. Or just picks, that's weird. Adam Bird, I guess. Randy Wood doesn't really fit. John Tucker, Murray Craven. Al Iafrate. We'd have to play him on his offhand. But that is... Ooh, Marty Jellin is out there. Iafrate is the... Ooh, McSorley for the right. Iafrate would fit this team pretty well. We're not really too worried about him being happy long term. But to get him on that left side to go with Oslin and Pronger would be pretty damn good. He is an upgrade on Ken Danico. I'd feel bad for Ken Danico, but then again, he hasn't been amazing this year. Jesus Christ, that trade value, though. He could add so much to this team, though. That trade value is through the roof. Obviously, we'd have no interest in giving up Zdeno Chara. We'd have to make a choice between Langenbrunner and Matt Barnaby. I feel like Langenbrunner's going to do nothing but just compete with Shane Doan anyway. So I'm not against giving up Jamie Langenbrunner in this deal. Left wing side, I mean, Chatan's almost ready. I don't want Naslin to go anywhere. And then we do have a lot of center prospects. We're still trying to build around here. Obviously, we can make a choice over who stays and who goes, but I'd prefer not to do that right now. Sabri is our first rounder next year. Ken Danico. Jamie Langenbrunner. We might not even need to use the first. What about LA's second rounder this year? How close are we? So, Iafrate directly replaces Danico. We give up a prospect. 2 picks to get it done. Let's use another second really quickly. And let's add a third. Make that 3 picks. We're going to have to use our first next year, which is okay. What about a first and a third? Yeah. So it is Ken Danico, Jamie Langenbrunner, a first and a third, but we do pick up Al Iafrate for the defense, which is awesome. What else can we go for? Phoenix, the 1 year. Ric Flair. Darren Pupa. Sorry, Phoenix. I got distracted by Darren Pupa. Thank you for the 1 year. Welcome back. I said we needed a goalie improvement. The top goalies out there, Darren Pupa, Lord Byron Defoe, Felix the Cat Potvin, or Ron Hextall. There's also John Casey. I gotta be honest, my favorite goalie of that bunch, I mean, there's 2 former Bruins on that list. I feel like it's got to be the Cat. It's got to be the Cat. I want Potvin in here to shore things up. With that, let's use Cristobal Huet. And let's use David Abisher. If they're willing to take the 2. Because Gerber and Weeks will be the AHL tandem. Actually, let's just use Huet then. And I might actually be able to get a draft pick out of this. Oh, that's right. They have Kipper. Jesus. Let's see. Huet for Potvin, a 4th and a 5th. Huet for Potvin in the 5th. Huet for Potvin. We'll take it. We'll take it. All right. So Felix Potvin, welcome to the team. Darren Pupa, Byron Defoe. To be honest, I mean, what if we were to get Byron Defoe as well? Really shore things up with 3 NHL caliber goaltenders. Use David Abisher to get it done. And they'll do it. And this way, I mean, somebody's got to be able to stop a puck on this team, right? Let's do it. Abisher for Defoe. There we go. Somebody out of our 3 NHL caliber goaltenders now has to be able to stop a puck. Defensively, Ken Danico's actually the top defenseman still available, so we made the right call getting Al Iafrate when we did. But from there, it's a bunch of forwards available here that really don't help the team. But now to have Pronger, Iafrate, Ozolinsh down that left side is awesome. Right side still a little bit weak, but... And again, right wing side, Ralston, Falloon, Doan, and Barnaby. Locked in. Left wing side is Shanahan, Naslund, Eliash, and Chris Simon. Unless Shatan, which he hasn't, or Hoagland, which he hasn't, have become NHL caliber. Centers, Gretzky, Juno, Allison, and Shantz. Because Datsuk's still a depth forward, so we'll keep him down in the AHL. So technically, we could look for an improved third-line center. It would mean trading Jeff Shantz, but I mean, it's Jeff Shantz. So Brian Bradley, he's got 5 years left on his deal, but he is the best center of the bunch. Or it's John Tucker. Both are playmakers. Dave Gagne as a grinder? That would fit in pretty well. Dave Gagne on Tampa. Kevin Miller. Ron Sutter. Jim Sandlack. Go for Dave Gagne, man. Getting a third-line center as a grinder may not be the worst way to go. He's obviously still got some term and everything left, but I'm not too worried about that. Again, hate to do it, but it's got to be Shantz that goes so we can get the improvement. It's one of those tough decisions. You let go of a player that you like. Try and push your team over the line. LA's second and Jeff Shantz for Dave Gagne. No. Shouldn't take too much. What about Montreal's third? Keep adding draft picks. What about a 6th? And what about a 7th? There it is. I think that's about as good as we can make this team unless something drastically changes with players that are available. Just because it's really, really tough to get people if they aren't on a team's trade block on hard difficulty. But our center core is going to be Gretzky, Juno, Gagne, and Allison. That's insane. Gagne has some offensive abilities too, even though he's a grinder. Super well-rounded. But he should help out the PK a lot. I think we're good. I mean, we might be drifting too far into the team is too good territory, but we have shored things up about as well as we possibly could. Again, unfortunately, there aren't that many defensemen available this year. But if we wanted to go to, like, the Coyotes and be like, hey, give us Teemu Solani, yeah, that's going to be expensive as hell. Even for Phil Housley, that would be expensive as hell. Freddie Olsen, it's not likely to happen. So, I think we're good. Anytime you can pick up Ally Afraidy and some goaltending depth, it's a pretty good deadline. Doesn't look like there were any other listed blockbusters. Danico got dealt back to New Jersey. Well, there you go. Worked out perfectly for him. But there it is. Defoe, Hobby Bullen, Potvin. Somebody has to be able to stop pucks come playoff time. Defense is good to go. That's right. We do have Luke Richardson also on that left side. We'll actually leave him in the minors. I'm all right with the Link Gates being the depth. Right wing side, Ralston, Falloon, Dome, Barnaby. Left wing side's good. Centers are good with John Madden being the healthy scratch. Good. So let's see. Let's see. If we go best lines, Shanahan, Gretzky, Ralston is now what it goes to by default. We want Naslin, Juno, Falloon. It actually puts John Madden in, which is not ideal. Got Chris Simon in there. Eliash, Gagne, Doan, Simon, Allison, Barnaby. That's a hell of a team. That is one hell of a team. Whether or not they can do anything in the playoffs is the question. And now, I want Iafrady on that third pair because I don't want to piss off Ozelinsh. But that does give us some good depth. Ozelinsh, Moran, Iafrady, Barahowski. Not bad. We have at least one really solid defenseman on every line. Hobby Bullen is still going to be the starter for the moment. Defoe has an 886. So Felix Potvin will be the designated backup for the moment. Defoe will have to wait. Middle six looks gross, doesn't it? +5, +4, +2 on the top line. I mean, I am kind of concerned, as people have said, is the goaltending, is just the team in general too good? Because that does happen, but I feel like for the most part, we are okay. Although right now, our AHL lines aren't perfect, but they will do. We have to see how the AHL team is doing again. They're going to be going for 4 straight titles. Yeah, they've already clinched the playoff spot. 44, 12, 9, and 1 for Kansas City. Led in scoring by Pavel Datsyuk. He could very well be the next in line to lead that team to a title. Carnage, how are you, by the way? What I want to do is turn off auto-rotate. We're going to be a little bit more hands-on with this. And see what we can do. Back-to-back losses means you are out of the rotation. So we draw Edmonton as Bob Rouse. Yes. I mean, that's fantastic as we beat Edmonton. Damn. That's actually really good to get someone like Bob Rouse here, who technically would be an improvement on Ian Moran. But for now, just makes that AHL defense even better. I mean, that's a no-brainer, especially with without a salary cap. That's a no-brainer to claim him. It actually puts Brian Rafalski in over him, which is hilarious. I have all 10 fingers after the 4th of July, so I can't complain. It's fair. That's fair. Datsuk. Oh, yeah. Datsuk will be on the NHL roster next year, for sure. 6-3 loss to Montreal, so if we lose this next game, it'll be a goalie switch here. And we do end up losing. Right. So, Felix the Cat Potvin. Felix. Congratulations, buddy. This is your chance. Prove you should be the starter of this team come playoff time. We get a 4-3 win over the Coyotes, who are terrible. 5-3 win over the Sens. I mean, right now we're outscoring our problems. 5-3 win over the Leafs. 7-5 loss to Vancouver. Shutout win over the Coyotes. Not bad. See, the Sabres. Overtime win. Dallas is a win. Felix is going on quite the run here. We have clinched a playoff spot as we beat Tampa. The Canucks haven't mathematically clinched the division title, but they're about to. Coyotes, we win. Detroit. That's a loss. That's okay. Los Angeles. And finally, we see back-to-back losses for Felix. But that was a really good run. What are his numbers now as a Shark? Not awful. I mean, certainly a hell of a lot better than what he was doing in Toronto this year. So, a lot better for the Cat. It's chance now, though, for Defoe to make his impression and to try to join the conversation. We have 5 games left this year. Can he keep the old leader baton for the rest of the season? No, he immediately loses the 2 games that he gets. So it'll be between Hobby Boulin and Felix Potvin as Byron Defoe shat the bed. Unfortunate. Vancouver, it's a win. Philly, it's another win. And we have 1 game left again against Vancouver, who we know have already taken the division title. And our final game is a 5-2 loss. So let's take a look. We already know that we finished second in our division. We already know what our playoff matchup will be. But 45 wins, 30 losses, 7 ties, and 2 overtime losses. It means that we will take on the Calgary Flames in the first round of the playoffs, while Vancouver will take on Los Angeles. Of course, the Jets have now moved to Arizona officially, and yeah, the Coyotes were big trash garbage this year. In the other Western Conference division, the Norris, it'll be Detroit taking on St. Louis, and Dallas will play Chicago. Tampa Bay were fargin' terrible this year, good lord. In the Adams division, Montreal will play Quebec, although they have now officially moved to Colorado, of course. Boston will play Buffalo. And in the Patrick division, New Jersey will play the New York Islanders. The Rangers will play the Penguins. Prophecy, welcome back. I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. So in the league, we were 7th, which isn't that bad. But obviously, we were hoping Wayne Gretzky would push us into this upper echelon, and he hasn't. Especially given that one of those teams in the upper echelon is a division rival in Vancouver. We might not be as close as we thought. I mean, I thought this year could be our final season. It still may be, but it's not exactly a guarantee. We did have the 4th most prolific offense in the league. Goals against average, though, at a 3.42 was mid-table, whereas Vancouver had the best goaltending in the league. Goaltending and defense, at the very least, so you can understand how they ended up there. Wayne Gretzky, though, even at his advanced age, was our leading scorer on 105 points. Shanahan on 103. Almost an equal output to what he had last year when it was him and Joe Juno on that top line. But what a run for Gretzky. And now, obviously, we won't have all of his career stats, but in the 5 seasons that we've simmed, he has been well over a point per game. Obviously, he wouldn't have actual Gretzky numbers, but those are still hilarious numbers for him. given the circumstances. Joe Juneau still had a really good season offensively. Defensively, not so much. Pat Falloon, great year. Marcus Naslin, Brian Ralston. I mean, our top 6 is disgusting. All but one of them were at a goal per, or a point per game. Certainly not a goal per game. Patrick Eliash on the third line did really well. How did Dave Gagne do? Not well. I'm going to be streaming a lot of college football 25. However, I love your relegation promotion. I'd love to use it in my own Twitch dynasty. Of course. I don't know if I was the first. I don't think I was the first person to do pro rel in NCAA. So go nuts, buddy. I don't own any ideas. The whole being like, oh, you brought Draft to Glory to the NHL community. That was based on FIFA/FC and Youth Squad Legends. Shout out to Cutsy, someone like that. The whole idea of just developing a team and not using any real players, I brought it over from that. So hardly an original idea that I'm going to be like, no, don't you dare call it a Draft to Glory. I don't give a fuck, man. I claim no ownership. All right. Shout out to John Madden, over a point per game. Let's go. Football. 71 overall. We have some concerns, especially the fact that Dave Gagne was trash once we acquired him, but we'll see what we can do. At the end of the day, though, we did have 4 guys hit at least 30 goals. Defensively, Iafrady, how did you do once you were acquired? 9 points. Ugh. Our deadline acquisitions really didn't do that well. Damn. Ozelinch, 34 points, 30 for Pronger. Prophecy, I hope you have fun with the idea, by the way. Funny thing is, I'm not even going to run like a promotion relegation thing for college football out of the gates. I'm going to do a straightforward run, and kind of like in Madden, we always do a straightforward run and then something else. So, Lord Byron was okay in his 2 games that he played, but he couldn't hold the baton for too long. Felix Potvin was better. He got 13 appearances. And Hobby Boulin, ugh. I don't know if we can trust the Boulin wall to be our guy. It might be Felix. It might be. 20-some-odd years that the sports games started doing multi-season game modes, there's probably very few original ideas. I'll have 100%, yeah. It's very difficult to come up with an idea that someone hasn't heard of before. For the forwards, Alex Mogilny led the league alongside line mate Pat LaFontaine. You also had Craig Janney, Paul Correa, and Steve Yzerman rounding out the top 5 in points, all at least 113. For goal scorers, it was 72 for Paul Correa that led the league, 71 for Pavel Bure, Steve Yzerman, Alex Mogilny, and Brett Hull, all with at least 61. Christ. That's insane. Defensively, the point leader was Al McInnes at a point per game in Calgary. You had Brian Leach, Tom Curvers, Scott Niedermeyer, and Jeff Brown, all with at least 70 points. Top goal scorer amongst defensemen was McInnes. Then Brian Leach, Vladimir Malakoff, Al Iafrady, and Larry Murphy. For the goaltenders, the winningest was Chris Osgood. Thomas Vokoun, Tom Barrasso, Ed Belfour, and Marty Brodeur up there. Shutout leader with 4 was Patrick Waugh. And the save percentage king, at least amongst guys that played half the games, was Ed Belfour at a 910. So, For the rooks, could very well be Patrick Eliash. The plus-minus might cost him. If it's not Eliash, it's going to be Craig Conroy. It's like Patty could very well get the job done. Did I watch CFB 25? I have watched everything multiple times related to college football. Are we supposed to be in the dead puck era by now? Yeah, but I didn't bother changing things over. I didn't care too much. Again, there's no perfect way to replicate any of the eras, so it's like, set things up to be able to have fun. Was how we approached it. Although, who knows? Maybe we'll change it. Because maybe it'll benefit us before we somehow blow this. against Calgary in round one.